Good morning, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Siddharth Singh, and I'll give a brief introduction about myself. I have close to 10 years of work ex in the pre-sale solutions and offerings domain. I've worked with companies like Tata Consultancy Services in Pune, and I worked with Shell, the oil and gas giant in Bangalore office. I have worked with High Radius, which is a fintech giant, uh, you know, and apart from that, I've also worked with Emphasis in the leadership development program, and I've done my MBA from SPJ in Mumbai, along with the University of Texas at Austin. And today I'll be presenting before you the webinar about the power duo, that is the the power of function and performance testing done together in the digital native world. So first of all, let's establish the hypothesis that yes, we are into a digital native world as we speak. So all the orgs that we know are kind of adopting to the digital first approach across businesses. Like it can be you know uh, media industry, it can be automotive industries, and even the government organizations. They are interacting with their citizens in a digital first manner. Now, how do we define digital first? So it all started with static pages in pages on website. That is the www revolution that happened in the 2000s. It was mostly for basic information and basic level of interaction. Then slowly and steadily we moved towards basic functionalities, and then there was internet boom, and then parallelly we realized that there is a need of functional testing of web pages, and you know the functionalities associated to it, so that whatever is launched into the market has a certain level of sanity check. This the scale up of the functional testing was very rapid, as was the scale up of the internet world. Now, slowly and steadily, in the later half of the 2000s, we saw the rise of the smartphones and other smart devices. So, slowly and steadily, mobile applications came into being, hybrid applications came into being, and people started interacting with those apart from the regular websites they were visiting. For example, if you were visiting YouTube on the website first, you started interacting with the YouTube application as well. But people had in mind that there will be certain level of gaps. People preferred websites over mobile phone applications because there was certain level of differences between the device level configuration and the internet connectivity for that matter. But slowly and steadily, this gap started to decrease. And now, as we speak, yesterday there was WWDC, and we saw what a mobile phone can do, and the power of an iPad is very similar to a MacBook. So there is basically no differences. A iPad or an Android pad or mobile phone, everything is just the same. And same applies to the other appliances as well. Like for example, if you are viewing Netflix on a mobile application on an iPad or a Windows laptop or a PlayStation console or a smart TV, a general consumer who does not care about the device they are interacting with, they are only focused on the experience and whatever content they want to consume. That is the main goal. Device is not the main goal right now. So having functional testing in place is, yes, absolutely necessary, but performance testing is also becoming a must have for all the industries. That applies to automotive industries as well. Now, as we speak, by 2025, it is expected that the number of connected cars is expected to cross 400 millions. This is a report published by Statista, which is everyone's main source of information. That is the data-driven information. And it is not just about opening the car or starting the engine. It is the complete ecosystem that we're talking about. Once you open an app, a electric vehicle app, or maybe a smart car or smart app, uh, it joins the overall the ecosystem of the car. It is not a separate entity altogether. If you are interacting with the infotainment unit, it is a part of your journey. the the long drive you're going on, or the official work that you're going on. Everything is a part of your overall journey. So you cannot compromise with the functionality at all, and you cannot compromise with the performance of the that application. Now, why is user experience and performance taking the center stage? Because the functional side of things are kind of stabilizing. That's a basic expectation, that if I'm opening an app, if I'm opening a device, it is expected to work properly. It's people don't care about what is happening at the back end. Same goes for the enterprise side of the world as well. They know that if I'm subscribing to an enterprise level application, there are 5 options available. I will choose the best one. One is the functionality, of course. There are complex user flows according to the processes that are there as a part of the organization, and how it's performing for the end users. Because you might have an X, CRM tool, but the performance is not that great. So slowly and steadily, your sales force, your salespeople will stop using it. So ultimately, you are subscribing to a tool, but people are not using it. Everything goes for toss. You are wasting your money, plus the process improvement that you were striving to achieve is not happening at all. So that's another challenge. Now that we have established the hypothesis that yes, there is a need of performance testing and UX validation as well, what are the challenges in the road? First of all, visibility into real user conditions are very difficult. Why is that so? We'll see in the later slides. And access to relevant KPIs is also a cumbersome task. How do we manage that? Again, it's very easy to list down that, yeah, these are the top 30 KPIs that I want to track, but how do we do that? That's a problem. Okay. So what are the key elements of the ecosystem that define the overall experience of a user or an enterprise for that matter? What is the ecosystem? Is it just the application? No. Is it just the smart device, smartphone? No, not at all. It's the permutation and combination. It's math actually, which defines the overall performance and user experience of that particular application. So if we start with career networks, no matter how optimized your application might be, I'll again take an example of streaming application, uh, just like Netflix. If you have subscribed to the premium subscription, that is the 4K resolution along with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos, it will take a lot of bandwidth. If you're having a 50 Mbps network connection at home, there is a possibility that you might be using it for other stuff as well. For example, your professional life, your mobile phones, and other connected devices. Ultimately, the bandwidth and the network speed available for that high level of high quality streaming will be very limited. And despite having a Sony Bravia or Netflix premium HD quality, the ultimately uh, the streaming quality will be impacted a lot. Okay, so that is one thing. Then if you have a very great internet connection like 1 Gbps, okay, but the CDNs are not optimized at the streaming platforms end, so ultimately that will also take a toll on the streaming. There will be a lot of buffering and all. There will be crashes, etc., etc. But the balance is not yet achieved. Then if we talk about operating systems, so there are two major operating systems as we know. One is iOS/iPad OS and the Android. And there are a growing number of companies which are manufacturing the devices on which these operating systems are involved, and they have their own level of customizations. Okay, so that increases the level of complexities. Okay, then there are various versions of operating systems that are launched in the market. Okay, so that further complicates the situation. And then there are different type of devices. Okay, for example, apart from phones and tablets and TVs, wearables are also nowadays very smart in nature. Although it might not be suitable for things like streaming video or maybe playing a game, but still there are a lot of stuff that can be done on wearable devices. and performance validation is very much necessary on that front as well. For example, if you're using a health tracking kind of thing, but your watch crashes due to device malfunction, or if the device is not optimized for suitable performance, ultimately it will fail the purpose. Now, locations. So, for example, if you are accessing a game, for example, Call of Duty, sitting at home, okay, it is kind of an ideal situation. There are limited people at home, there is a stable Wi-Fi connection, and you can manage the whole ecosystem. But when you move out, you are going to an airport, you are a hardcore gamer, you are in the traffic, okay, then you go into, for example, an airport or a stadium, okay, to watch a cricket match or a baseball match. The uncontrollables overpower the controllables in that ecosystem. The number of people who are there around you, okay, and the towers that are giving you the network, that are now uncontrollables. You cannot control that. Ultimately, there are chances that your uh, app functionality might work, but the performance will vary according to the uncontrollable variations, okay, which is due to the network traffic and the network availability. Then there are application versions and types, okay. There, of course, there are updates and all, for which regression testing is there to test the functional performance, functional side of things for the applications. But you have to check the function, performance degradation on build or device on device, network over network. That is also very important apart from functional regression. Okay. So these are the key elements that combine and form a ecosystem where these applications deliver the required services to the end customers, be it a consumer or an enterprise. Now, we have to take a balanced approach, like we were talking in the earlier slides. Now, I've taken a very simplistic approach. I'm not going into the technicalities. First, we have to understand why is it important. So if we focus on the first half of the slide, there is an application where a customer is trying to purchase a shoe, okay, and that person logs into the application. That person searches the top 3 models of the shoe, and he or she is able to add it to the cart, make a payment, and then it's done. Now, if you look from a typical testing mindset, from a functional test, okay, either the test is pass or fail. Why it passed? Because the journey was completed successfully. The app did not crash. There was no issue. And it can fail as well if the app crashes or the payment fails or something for that matter. It's a binary result. Okay. And no matter how complex user journey is there, you can perform functional testing, which is a very complex task and a very important task. But ultimately, the result is binary. The test passes or fails. If you rely on this method, yes, you can definitely launch your product into the market. There's a high chances that it will see success. Of course, it will see success. That is how all the enterprises are surviving. Nobody is that naive. But slowly and steadily, word of mouth kicks in. So you have democracies in nations, you have democracy in the internet as well. You have various platforms, including the Play stores and the app stores, where users will start pouring in the feedback that, hey, while everything is fine, but in this particular section of the user flow, for example, searching the the shoe, I am facing so and so issue. Okay, what do we do? Now the developers will, or the product team will read the feedback and then start working on it maybe. Okay, I am oversimplifying it, but just for the purpose of discussion. But ultimately, this is a reactive approach for fixing the performance issues or issues related to user experience. What can we do to shift the whole user experience element left into the development cycle or the release cycle, you can go ahead with the performance analysis. Okay, and performance validation has three key elements. One is the application performance. How is the application performing in various ecosystems, various platforms? How is the device performing? Now, how is the device performing? Why is it important? So, for example, there is a banking application, okay, and if you launch it, uh, everybody knows that if it's a cold start, then the memory usage and the CPU usage will spike. Okay, maybe it will go up to 60 or 80% of the overall CPU usage. Okay, but we also know that it has to go down to a certain extent, which states that the application is optimized for that particular device or the configuration of the device. If it remains high, like 80 to 100%, something like that, there's a high chance that it might crash, or the device might also get freezed or overheated. It also impacts the device longevity as well. It is not the ideal situation. You can, delay it for some time, but ultimately it will take a hit on the user experience. Why? Because there are a lot of background activities that are happening in the device. For example, there are applications such as WhatsApp, which are continuously refreshing the influx of the messages that are coming, which might be videos, text, etc. And there are device level and OS level settings as well, like location, etc., which might be using CPU up to a certain level. So that device performance is very much important, and the application has to be optimized according to various configurations that are available in the market. Similarly comes the network performance. Network experience is very much important. Now, how do we do that? We'll see in the later slides. And the most important thing is these cannot be done in silos. And these actually it can be done in silos, but it should not be done in silos because, for example, there is a user flow from A to B. You should be able to see how is it performing functionally and from the performance side of it, so that you can make an informed decision. Otherwise, there will be decoupling of these two elements, and there will be a lot of blind spots. If you fix if you maybe you fix the functionality, performance might take a hit. If you fix the performance, functionalities might take a hit. That is not theoretically possible, but that is a scenario that might happen. So it's the ideal situation to keep it tightly coupled and do it simultaneously. Okay, a parallel approach. So what happens is, if it is happening across along with the development cycle, you are releasing various builds, and you are doing performance testing and functional testing on each of these builds that are released. You will be able to resolve the bugs and performance bottlenecks beforehand, before it reaches the customer and hits the uh, user experience overall. Okay, I see there are certain questions. I think there are three questions. uh, you know I would like to answer these questions at the end of the webinar, if that's okay with all of us, because a lot of questions will be answered during the webinar. So next slide. Give me 1 second. Yeah. So again, slowly and steadily we are moving from theoretical knowledge to the applied knowledge, the applied science. So while it is very easy, every enterprise have their own resources and own ideas and own set of experts who can build up solutions to tackle this. Okay, maybe you can buy 50 devices at your offices, n number of devices in the offices across various OEMs, OSs, etc., etc. But there is a chance that there will be a lack of standardization. So uh, process improvement has to be the key, to drive organization level changes. And only if you are organized at an organizational level, then only you can provide the best possible solution, or the best possible digital product to the end customers, both enterprises and consumers. So lack of standardization is a problem, especially if there are different set of devices across different teams. One is the performance validation team, one is the function testing teams. Again, the decoupling happens. There is no overlap. Even if there is an overlap, it is error prone. Okay, some functional tester is running a user journey A to B in permutation combination A, whereas the performance tester is running in permutation and combination B. So if you combine the data and you try to drive correlations, there is a chance that there will be certain level of gap. Okay, there will be certain level of discrepancy in the data. So you cannot 100% rely on that. Also, a lot of people rely on emulators and simulators. Again, it can do the basic stuff, but do you want to remain basic in this highly competitive world? No, I don't think so. I think the uh, validation of real user experience has to be done on real devices and real ecosystem. Okay. Now, is that possible? Yes, you can do it at up to a certain level. You can set up your own labs, or maybe you can look for strategic partners, okay, to scale up operations. If you are an MNC, you are working in 50 countries, you need not buy 50 into 50, 250 or 2500, 2500 devices. Okay, there is duplicacy in terms of capital expenditure. You can reduce that. How? You can have a remote access to all the devices. You can have a centralized platform. It is very important, so that all the people can share their ideas. They can collaborate and work towards a common goal to achieve the best possible application in terms of both functionality and performance. Now, how do we do at Headspin? You have uh, you know registered for this particular webinar. You must be knowing something about Headspin or our competitors for that matter. And all of you must be the experts in the domain, that is functional testing or development, or the product side of it. The good news is Headspin is usable and beneficial for all of us. Okay, so how does it work? How does it fit into the development or testing life cycle? So what happens is Headspin sits right in the middle of the ecosystem, the existing ecosystem. There is no change that you need to make into your existing ecosystem. If you have certain CI/CD pipeline or automation framework in place, you just need to integrate it. That's it. Nothing to be done there. Once Headspin comes into the picture, one thing remains the same is the function analysis. The benefit is you need not rely on external tools. You can see the pass-fail analysis in a visual format, a graphical format in the performance module or the dashboard section of the Headspin UI. And now, if you talk about the performance side of it, what happens is if you are running tests, okay, there are multiple artifacts that are created during each of the test sessions and test cycles for that matter. So when I say test sessions, there is one test session and maybe there are 150 test sessions that you're running. It doesn't matter. Headspin will capture everything. What happens at the backend? There are machine learning algorithms in place which studies the whole test session that you have run, no matter how many instances that you have run. It automatically, identifies certain issues which are important for the performance and user experience, such as page load and all. Okay, and it also presents you with certain information that might be useful for both QAs and developers to proactively resolve those. And it will also show you some level of industry benchmarking. That, for example, if there is a page load time of more than 1 second, then only it will consider as a negative point. Otherwise, it will bypass it. Okay, there will be no or low false positives or false negatives for that matter in Headspin platform, so that you can have focused efforts towards resolving problems. Okay, and it will give you informed information to proactively resolve it as well. For example, you might want to optimize this or that at UI level, or that there might be some network related issues as well. Also, apart from that, like we were talking about, device metrics and application performance, network performance. So how do we quantify all of it? So what Headspin does it, there are 130 plus KPIs, which is a mix of out of box and custom KPIs that covers all the user experience elements or the performance elements across device, network, and application metrics. Okay. And what happens after that? The most important thing is doing the RCA. So first of all, you will have a time series view of all these 130 plus KPIs. Now, this is a USP of Headspin, creating a single data stream of all these metrics across different elements, app, device, and networks. We create a single stream and we are able to present it into a single time series view. Okay, you will have all the KPIs listed and you can play the recording as well. Now, all of this will act as a evidence that, hey, Mr. Developer, there is a problem and we need to fix it. Okay. And this can be used as an evidence, and there is no need of issue reproduction. Now it saves further time. Okay. There will be no, contradictory statements. If it's there, if it's there, you can just refer to the whole session recording, and you can just open the whole time series view as well with just click of link. Okay. And this can be tagged to your Jira tickets. Now there is another capability that has come in, automated creation of tickets. So that further reduces your burden of, repetitive tasks. All you have to focus is on, development, fixing bugs and finding bugs. That's it. Okay. Apart from that, we also capture packet level data so that you are aware of the API calls, network calls that are done throughout the user flow. And you can drive correlation between various factors, such as you logged in, you see, oh, hey, the battery drainage has spiked during this phase, or the CPU usage has spiked during this phase. Okay, this is fine, but it needs to be optimized. Okay. And you can do peer benchmarking as well. You can see that how is your app performing against the top 5 competitors in the market, because you might be the best in your world, you might be the best for your customers, but hey, the competition is growing, they are coming for you. Okay. Because everything is same in the digital world. If you are able to provide the best, you will remain the best, you will remain at the top of the table. Now, the next part is monitoring and regression intelligence. This is again a very key element that is important, and Headspin helps you with it. First of all, viewing 130 plus KPIs for a single session is easy. Now, what if you are running 1,000 sessions? You are running hundreds of sessions across different geographies. How do we compare it? Okay, you might have to assign that task to a certain resource. Okay, please download the data, please create graphs out of it, or maybe you might want to purchase a new tool, okay, to ingest all the data and give you some important and readable graphs. You need not rely on third party solutions, you can rely on Headspin itself. All this data can be reused to form persona specific and tailored dashboards that can be used across various personas in your company. That is your business folks, your product people, the strategists, the developers, the QAs, the SREs, and the DevOps. Everyone can have their own view of these KPIs so that everyone is viewing the same picture. There is a single source of truth and you are working together for a same purpose. Also, like we were talking about functional regression. Okay, you have another build, you have some sort of upgrade, and you do functional regression and you check that, hey, all the functionalities are working fine. But it is also important to see performance degradation and validate performance degradation, build over build or device over device, network over network as well. So you can do that in Headspin platform as well. In the form of graphs and all, you can compare the performance of multiple builds in a single view and identify that, hey, this build is performing better than this one. Then do some RC on the real ground and release the best possible product in the market. And slowly and steadily, you will see the number of negative comments reducing from the updates perspective. Right now, there is a lot of apps in the market where people complain that, hey, this app was working fine until the upgrade that was last released in the previous week. So things like that. Now, again, adding one more element to the proactiveness of the solution, we can have alerts and watchers. So if you are tracking or monitoring KPIs, you can set custom alerts and watchers which can do the half of job for you. So basically, if there is some KPI and there are some floor limits or ceiling limits, and there are certain thresholds, you can customize alerts. And in case it breaches the floor or the ceiling, you will get an automated alert across various personas so that everyone is aware and they can proactively fix that thing while you are developing things. Now, if we also talk about quantification of performance across 130 plus KPIs, it is also important to quantify the overall user experience or perceived user experience. How do we quantify that? That is a big question. Okay, these are my 130 plus KPI issues. So what? So what? You still don't know how it will look in front of the end customer. So we have a solution for that as well. Headspin's indigenous solution, that is the impact score, which is very similar to what you might have heard, the Google Lighthouse, but it is very specific to certain domains. But this impact score is applicable across devices, across all the platforms that you see in the market. And what is it? It's it is calculated by analyzing various data points, performance related to mobile app and web app performance. Okay, and it includes various things such as web vitals, cumulative layout shift, contentful paint, speed index, etc., etc., and it quantifies and gives you an impact score out of 100, where 75 and above is fair. You need not worry about it, but if it's below, then definitely there is a problem. Okay. Now, what is the tangible benefit of having the impact score in place? First of all, you will have quantified outcome. You can work work together and see what is the improvement, if further improvement is required. Otherwise, it's all subjective in nature. You will have to wait for customer feedback. Okay. And there is app performance. Ultimately, business relies on word of mouth. Brand loyalty relies on word of mouth. So if it's positive, then there will be reduced churn. And it is quite comprehensive and accurate because it is based on the test sessions that you have run and the various parameters that have been captured during the journey. Now, we have been talking about what's in it for an enterprise or what's in it from a consumer perspective, what's in it for a business, but what's in it for the teams that are running the show, the engine. Who is the engine? The product teams, the QAs, SREs, and developers. Okay. So again, I'll paint the same picture, but it's from your perspective. So first of all, there is an early feedback loop. Okay. It reduces the redundancy. It reduces the escalations, internal and external escalations that happens. Okay. Because early feedback ensures high quality releases. Okay. If there are high quality releases, your workload after the release will reduce. Okay. The redundant work, of course, you will have to focus on the next steps, how to further optimize, how to add new features and whatever to the application or the web app. Okay. Also, developers can also leverage this platform because it can be integrated with the CI/CD pipeline, and continuous testing, once it is there in the picture, it becomes easier for them. Okay, they can have the advanced analytics while developing the app, and QAs can also have actionable insights to detect and rectify bugs and issues earlier in the development cycle, which releases higher quality products ultimately. Okay. And of course, if you are a developer, you cannot without the help of such solutions, even the traditional solutions, You cannot have a confidence about the uh, cross-platform compatibility. You might be confident about, hey, my application will work perfectly fine in the higher end of devices, but it might lag for the mid range or the lower, the entry range devices. Okay, so if you have that level of information that during the continuous testing phase, that testing is being done across geographies and across various set of devices, be it an iPhone X which is discontinued, or maybe iPhone 16 that is coming as soon as September 2024, you will be confident about the outcome, okay, from functional and performance perspective. Okay. Again, now coming to the performance optimization. Uh, you don't have to rely on subjective responses and subjective feedback that, hey, this is not working fine. That is not enough for a technical guy to solve the problem. You have a scientific and analytic brain. You need data points. You need actionable insights. Okay. So not only it gives benefits to the customers that your user experience is improving, you get actionable insights. Okay, you can choose your own, you can define your own custom KPIs according to the user flow and according to the application, and have that presented into the form of a dashboard so that your life becomes easier. Okay, and collaboration is also a very important thing, because nowadays teams are usually distributed across geographies and across domains. So it is very important to have a very seamless information flow inside the organization. Otherwise, uh, it doesn't matter. You are adding to the complexity of the ecosystem if you are relying just on traditional methods and flat files. So collaboration is very important. Having a centralized platform for all the teams is very important, so that there is less of contradiction, less of conflict, and more collaboration working towards a common goal. And again, there is, like I just mentioned, there is no need of issue reproduction. Once it's identified with the by the QA team or the performance testing team, you can take that word for it. You can just open the session, run the recording, identify all the bottlenecks, and just work on it. Okay, and the QAs can also add certain annotations on the uh, the time series view, that, hey, this is the problem from this second to this second, so that developer doesn't have to invest their time further into the you know issue identification. Okay, and regression intelligence is also very important. So for example, again, I'll take an example of iOS 18, which is a very recent event. So it was introduced to the world last night only, and once it is there, it is a very major upgrade, probably the biggest upgrade in last 10 years. So all the applications are expected to release their so-called major releases, and it's a sudden thing that is happening. It will, everyone is waiting or bracing for the impact. Yeah, if you rely on traditional methodology, you might be able to cover the functionalities, but performance will take a hit. And a company like Apple, they focus on performance and perfect user experience, and you don't want to break that trust with iOS users or Android users. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. And I'm open to questions. I'll start answering questions that are already there in the chat. So question number one is, what kind of devices that Headspin supports for functional and performance testing? Okay, good question. Uh, 1 second. So yeah. So basically, we cover all the major OEMs which release their own set of mobile devices, such as Apple, Samsung, Xiaomi, Google, etc., etc. All of them are there: low-end devices, mid-range devices, and high-end devices. And we are committed towards 0-day support for all of these devices. That is point number one. That is the basic. We also support the tablets, be it Android and iPad. We have also Android-based infotainment systems that are an integral part of all the latest cars that are there in the market. Apart from that, we have OTT and media devices as well, such as Roku TV, Apple TV, Chromecast. We have smart speakers as well, and we also support Xbox testing on Xbox and xCloud as well. For example, xCloud is very important nowadays for streamers, who are not purchasing a console. They are relying on high bandwidth internet and directly streaming games, playing games directly on the internet. So their AV quality of experience is very important. So Headspin provides a very contextualized and custom solution for such purposes. So yeah, long story short, we cover almost all the important digital touch points across the world. Okay. Can Headspin capture performance KPIs and issues for hybrid and web apps as well? Can you please let us know a few KPIs and issues? Okay, sure. Why not? Yes, Headspin captures performance KPIs and the impact score for both hybrid and web apps as well, apart from the mobile native apps. And like I said, that there are 130 plus KPIs, okay, that we capture. And some of them are, one second, let me pull it out for you. Is it there on the slide? Okay, I'll call it out. Some of them are like blurriness, blockiness, if you talk about audio and video parameters, okay, audio loudness, audio presence, and what is the page content. If we talk about network parameters, it is like network in packets, network out packets. If we talk about device hardware, then net CPU usage, net CPU frequency, battery drainage, battery percentage, etc. And the issues that we capture are slow download, slow servers, low page content. Low page content is one of the biggest and the most frequently appearing issue across all our customers, existing customers. They are very much interested into it. And there are log exceptions, there are HTTP errors, redirects, unoptimized resources, etc., and things like that. So yeah, that's about it. You can definitely reach out to us if you have any specific requirements, and we can have a customized demo for you so that you can have a better idea about that. Okay, there is another question. There was iOS 18 show by Apple. It launches in September. How soon can you support the new devices? Yeah. So like I said, Headspin is committed towards 0-day support to all the new devices, all the leading devices. So be rest assured, you can have it as soon as it is launched in the market. There is one last question that I see. My pain area is writing scripts and maintenance. Do we have a scriptless solution available in Headspin? So yeah, the good part is we have a native integration with low code, no code platform such as Tosca. It is a native integration. So basically, you will have some sort of solution for your problem statement as well. We do that a lot for our enterprise application customers. So yeah, the answer is yes. And apart from that, also we also integrate with other low-code, no-code platforms such as XLQ and all as well. So we have basically 60 plus automation frameworks and tools that we integrate with, which includes these low-code, no-code platforms. So there's one more question. Which language does it support for performance scripting? So I can take the liberty to say that we are, scripting language agnostic. Basically, you can adopt any language or any automation framework that you might want to use for both functional and performance testing. That is not a problem. Do you have any language specifically in your mind? I can answer that. Otherwise, the answer is it's agnostic. I think that's doable. You can definitely reach out to us. We can have a detailed discussion about your whole use case and how it can be achieved in the shortest possible time. So thank you for asking that question, Sairam. Thank you, everyone.